Baseball and softball face some ups and downs in their fight to top their respective AP polls. And as the Stanley Cup playoffs approach, we'll break down the NHL playoff picture and discuss which teams are best positioned to make a late season run. All that and more on College Press Box. Welcome and good evening to College Press Box. I'm Dylan Becker, hosting with Zoe Frigillana tonight. Before we get started, we want to remind you that College Press Box is brought to you by Cap Metro, Austin's transit system. We connect you to work, school, play, and everywhere in between. Plan your ride to this weekend's game at capmetro.org. Well, it was deja vu for Texas women's basketball in Phoenix this past Saturday after the Longhorns bowed out in the Final Four for the second consecutive season, falling to the UCLA Bruins 51-44. Let's take a look at some of those highlights from this defensive battle. Well, it is Final Four time here in Phoenix as we are ready to tip it off. UCLA versus Texas for a spot in the national championship. Bruins looking to get things started here early. This one a long three from Neepkins. That one's good. Texas seeing that, they're saying, all right, we got to get this offense revved up as Jordan Lee finds Rory Harmon cutting for a smooth baseline J. Both teams trying to get comfortable here early. UCLA just doing a bit better job of it, though, finding their star Lauren Betts down low for some tough old-school bully ball inside. And then on the very next play, it's a big three for the Bruins. That's an 8-point lead here early. Texas trying to respond. Instead, it's rejected. Big rejection and a stare down there from the Bruins. Texas's offense struggling early, just 6 points in that first quarter. Rory Harmon trying to change that with this baseline J, another one. And then a little bit later, at a 6-point deficit, Rory Harmon going to take it the length of the court. She's going to find Kyla Oldacre, hand it off, says, you know what, I'll take that back. Top of the key jumper, that one's good. It's bottoms. Texas trying to stay close. Madison Booker looking to do her best Rory Harmon imitation. That one can't fall. Booker had herself a rough day from the field, but Texas would get the rebound, and it's Aaliyah Crump for three there. Keeping this game close, and then with 2.5 minutes left, Rory Harmon to steal the scoop, and eventually the score. So 17-20 is your first half score, just 17 points from the Longhorns in this first half. Rory Harmon, though, 8 of those 17 leading the charge here for the Horns. Early in the second half, trying to get things started, it's Kiki Rice for the Bruins with the tough take and the smooth finish at the cup, keeping their distance from the Horns, and then a little bit later, it's Rice showing off the handle and dropping it off for Betts for the easy lay. Betts was all over the paint, as she is per usual. Texas trying to respond. It's Justice Carlton, can't get it to go. Gets her own rebound, puts it back up, and the foul. And one for the Longhorns, a big one there. And with the made free throw, that would cut it to just 3 points with a little bit under a minute left in the third quarter. Slamming the hardwood there emphatically. And then on the very next play, it's Carlton again. Another tough finish. And now just a 1-point deficit for the Longhorns heading into the fourth quarter, though. And after a little bit of a run for the UCLA Bruins in the beginning of the fourth, it's out for three, and it's good. Back to an 8-point lead for the Bruins once again. Texas got to do something. Instead, they lose the ball. It's Ledger Walker who finds the cutting girl, who makes the layup, and it's a 10-point game. Texas got to get something going, and they get a big shot from Booker here. Her first made shot after 17 consecutive misses from the field. So now a 10-point game. How does UCLA respond? How about a three off the back of the iron? A 13-point deficit for the Horns with under 5 minutes to go, but Jordan Lee gets the cut there, now down to an 11-point game. Texas got to make something happen again. Jordan Lee, that was her first points of the game, but it wouldn't take her much more time to find another one. That three is good. Clutch three there to make it an 8-point game. Betts, though, trying to keep this one an arm's length away. And this one helps here. Tough turnaround is good. It's a 10-point deficit now as we go on inside 3 minutes. Madison Booker trying to help the Horns here. Hasn't done it much today, but she gets this one to fall. That makes it a 7-point game. Texas would then get a stop, and now it's Oldacre going to drive inside to do it herself, and that one is good. Now it's a 5-point game. Texas would then get another stop, and now it's Jordan Lee spinning. Tough inside drive is good, and it's a 3-point game. Texas now with a chance to potentially tie. Booker driving inside, but it's blocked by Betts. Lauren Betts with an emphatic block and a scream, letting it all out. And in a game full of defensive stops, it was this one that would be the exclamation point for the Bruins and send them through to the national championship game. Texas's comeback bid falls just short as they cannot get it done and fall short in the semifinal once again. Absolutely a gut-wrenching way for such a magical season for the Longhorns to come to an end, but still undeniably an incredible year for Texas and a ton to be excited about with this team as we head toward the future. Let's now send it over to Zoe, who's with our very own Trinitee Jason, to talk more about Texas women's basketball. Zoe?
Thanks, Dylan. After the Texas Longhorns took an unfortunate loss to UCLA, the Bruins advanced to the championship game against the South Carolina Gamecocks. I'm here with Trinitee Jason to break down the Longhorns' final game of the season and talk about UCLA's dominance against South Carolina. Great to have you with us tonight. How are you doing?
Hi, Zoe. I'm doing great. You know, it really is sad to see the Longhorn season come to an end. I mean, those girls really played their hearts out in Phoenix.
Yeah, it is sad. So, seeing the Longhorns lose to UCLA, especially with how far they went in the tournament and how well they have been performing, what went different this game compared to the matchup earlier in the season?
In sports, they said it's hard to beat the same team twice in 1 year because the opposing team has access to film and they are able to design a better game plan to stop their opponent. The Bruins came in with a total game plan to minimize Madison Booker's effectiveness. Lauren Betts, who was projected to be a top 3 pick in the WNBA draft, made crucial plays down the stretch, including a game-saving block. To secure the win, not only was Lauren a defensive force, but she led the Bruins in scoring. It just came down to which team made the biggest plays in the biggest moments.
You know, I agree. It truly does come down to who really had the best execution of their game plan. Now that the Texas Longhorns season has come to an end, what has been your biggest takeaways from this season? How has the team impacted the program as a whole?
This year, this team has had quite a few milestones. The Longhorns made their 5th Final Four appearance in program history while making back-to-back Final Four appearance for the first time since 1987. They have 3 consecutive years recording over 30 wins. Rory Harmon solidified herself as an all-time great in Texas history. She finished her career with 1,616 points, 977 assists, 659 rebounds, and 388 steals. The Longhorns has solidified being one of the top teams in the nation and top destination spot for recruits.
Yeah, those stats are just historic, and this has truly been a historic season for the Texas Longhorns. And speaking of recruits, what is the outlook for Texas next year?
With the return of their leading scorer and rebounder, Madison Booker, along with the #1 recruiting class in women's basketball for next year, the Longhorns are set for another appearance in the Final Four. Their focus is perimeter shooting, and they have locked in several sharpshooters for next year, including Lizzie Spate, Bethana Crittenden, and Addison Bajorn. Putting those incoming freshmen with the core returning players, Texas is poised to be in the title run for the championship.
Well, I certainly hope so and look forward to seeing if next year's Longhorns can finish what this team started and capture that title. Thanks for joining us, Trinitee, and back to you at the desk, Dylan.
Solid work, Zoe and Trinitee. When College Press Box returns, we will take a look at some of the triumphs as well as some of the setbacks Texas baseball and softball faced this past weekend. Stay tuned, you won't want to miss it.
Welcome back to College Press Box. This past weekend, Texas softball traveled to Tuscaloosa to take on the tough Crimson Tide, and Texas baseball secured another series win in South Carolina against the Gamecocks. Let's check it out.
Thanks, Zoe. I'm here with Brynlie to talk about a crazy weekend for Texas baseball and softball. Welcome to the show, Brynlie. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, Dylan. How are you today?
I'm great, although that Texas softball team has me a little worried after this weekend as they traveled down to Tuscaloosa, Alabama to take on the Crimson Tide, and, well, that series didn't exactly go as planned. So can you tell us what happened to Texas softball this weekend?
I sure can. Last week, I mentioned that this matchup between Texas and Alabama would be the real test for the Longhorns, and that unfortunately showed in their series loss versus the Crimson Tide. Game one for the Longhorns seemed to be easy. Junior right-handed pitcher Tegan Cavan performed just as always, allowing only 1 run on 5 hits. Leanne Good had her first multi-home run game as a Longhorn, and all around the team performed to the expectations that Longhorn fans have for them. Game one would end with a score of 9-1, but game 2 and 3 of the series were different. Texas would get the 4-0 lead midway through the second inning, but then would give up 11 unanswered runs. Game 3 would unfortunately end in another loss for the Longhorns with a score of 7-4. Reese Atwood and Katie Seward would combine for 3 home runs, but in the end, it wasn't enough to give the Longhorns the win. This would be the first series loss for the Longhorns this season.
Well, you can't win them all, but I still certainly think that this team is capable of going on another national championship run. We shall see. But switching over to baseball now, those Longhorns won yet another series, this time against the South Carolina Gamecocks. Let's go over that series.
Yeah, absolutely. The Longhorns got yet another series win, which once again keeps the Longhorns ranked at number 2. Game 1 of the series did not go as planned. The Gamecocks would have a 5-run second inning that would make it difficult for the Longhorns to respond. Aiden Robbins had a solo home run during the top of the third inning, which resulted in the Longhorns' only run of the series opener. The end score of Game 1 would be 9-1. If there's anything that Longhorn fans should know by now, though, it is that this team is very quick to respond in Games 2 and 3. Catcher Carson Tenney would hit 2 home runs that were then followed by a 405-foot home run by second baseman Ethan Mendoza. Pitcher Luke Harrison would allow just 1 hit to get yet another win under his belt. Freshman star Sam Cozart would be brought in during the bottom of the 9th inning to secure the 5-3 win for the Longhorns. Dylan Volantis once again proved why he got the role as the series closer, as he retired the first 12 batters that he faced during Game 3. Carson Tenney would hit yet another home run for the Longhorns, making it his 10th home run of the season. Anthony Pack Jr., who actually just got SEC Freshman of the Week this morning, would also hit a 2 RBI double to help the Longhorns secure the series win against the Gamecocks.
Well, certainly another incredible weekend for the Longhorns. That pitching, something special. So, as we move forward, tell us what we have to look forward to for the remainder of the season for both of these teams.
Well, it is once again a rivalry weekend for both of these teams. Baseball and softball will be playing both of their rivals when it is the Oklahoma Sooners and the Texas A&M Aggies. Texas softball did move down the rankings to number 2, and Alabama actually took their spot with number 1 in the rankings. This week is an exciting week, though, as it is a rematch of the 2025 championship game. Texas will be taking on the number 8 Oklahoma Sooners here at McCombs Field. The Longhorns are hoping to reclaim their place as number 1 in the rankings, and the Longhorns will do so if they just go back to performing just as they know how. A series win will definitely be in the cards if they do what they know to do. As for baseball, they will be taking on the Aggies down in College Station. This is yet another top 25 matchup for the Longhorns. The pitching staff for the Longhorns right now is just incredible. Each of the starters have been doing their job, as well as freshmen Brett Crossland and Sam Cozart, who have been pretty consistent out of the bullpen. If the Longhorns can have a great night at bat, I see another series dub in the future.
Well, that will do it from over here. Great analysis, Brynlie, and thanks for coming on the show. Now, back to you at the desk, Zoe.
Thank you, Brynlie and Trinity. When College Press Box returns, we will be talking NHL. Stay with us.
Welcome back to College Press Box. Well, with spring in full session, that can only mean one thing in the world of hockey. The Stanley Cup playoffs are on the horizon and fast approaching. Here with Zoe to break down this year's wild NHL postseason race is our very own TJ Krilowicz up on the soapbox.
Thanks, Dylan. Now we skate into the National Hockey League. TJ is here with me to break it all down. How are you doing, TJ?
I'm doing pretty good, Zoe. Thanks for having me on.
Well, we love to have you on, and let's hear all about it.
Yeah, I'll be talking for a while, so you guys go ahead, just sit down for a while. We've made it to April, guys, and while everyone always talks about March as the premier month of sports, sometimes feels like the shadows of March Madness and MLB opening day can make people forget how special April is as well. For starters, the Masters is coming up, the NFL Draft is later this month, the NBA playoffs are starting up, and one of the most underrated sports events in the entire nation, the Stanley Cup playoffs. Why do I say that? It's quite simple. To the people who watch this electric bracket that is guaranteed to have competitive series throughout, the games are some of the most electric events you will ever see. The games are highly emotional, and it is almost impossible to predict what will happen because if we're being honest, the best part of the playoffs is the parity. Any team can rise and any team can fall. So although I just said earlier it can be really tough to predict, that's what I'm about to do because surely none of my takes will age poorly in a playoff bracket where unpredictability is at its peak. Now, where do we even begin? Well, let's start with the Eastern Conference where it is straight up a bloodbath between the top teams for positioning right now. We have some familiar faces like the Carolina Hurricanes and the Tampa Bay Lightning currently leading their divisions. But with teams like the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs falling out of the playoffs, has helped to put a few teams that make you feel like you have to do a double look to make sure the team is actually in the playoffs. We all know who I'm talking about, the Buffalo Sabres. They are back in after 15 seasons of sitting in the Eastern Conference basement. The Sabres have been able to turn their season around behind some elite goaltending from Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and Alex Lyon, and elite offensive play from the captain Rasmus Dahlin and U.S. player Tage Thompson. But here's where things already get dicey. I don't think they make it past the first round where they probably play the Montreal Canadiens. This is just too balanced of a squad that I think Buffalo, with their lack of experience, will have a tough time in a 7-game series. While the goaltending can be great for Buffalo, Montreal is averaging 3.63 goals per game, while Buffalo has gone through a rough patch defensively, giving up 30 goals in the last 7 games. Now, while there are still so many teams that are contending in the East, there are really only 2 teams that I have my eyes on, and it's 2 teams that I mentioned earlier, the Hurricanes and the Lightning. The Canes might have the deepest roster in the league, and their two-way style that includes top-tier forechecking is a recipe for success, while Tampa has explosive offense led by Nikita Kucherov and stonewall goaltending from Andrei Vasilevskiy. Now, these are the 2 teams I expect to meet in the conference finals, and when we get this deep in the playoffs, experience matters immensely. And while this is a matchup between 2 Goliaths, Tampa is a team that has shown they can win in the Eastern Conference Finals, while Carolina hasn't really been able to do that. I'm going to bet on the Lightning to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals again because I think they just match up well with the Canes. I hate to have Carolina lose this deep in the playoffs yet again, but until they can prove they can translate their regular season success to the postseason, it's just simply too risky to pick them to beat Tampa. Give me the Lightning in 6. And now, oh boy, the Western Conference is just a mess. Comparing the Pacific Division to the Central Division is like comparing a coughing baby to a hydrogen bomb. Because 4 teams in the Central Division, I'm pretty sure, would currently be first in the Pacific Division right now. It's pretty pathetic, but don't count out the teams in the Pacific Division yet, especially the team that I consider the Golden State Warriors of hockey without the rings, the Edmonton Oilers. While Anaheim has had a great season, I just don't think they'll be able to keep up with the speed, experience, and sheer talent that Edmonton and Las Vegas hold over them. Because of that, I think it comes down to those 2 teams again, and Edmonton will win again. Mitch Marner has been a good signing for the Knights, but the Oilers improved over the deadline, and when you look back at the playoff series between the 2 last year, where the Oilers won at 5, I just don't see Marner moving the needle for the Vegas team. Give me Edmonton again to make it out of the pillow fight that is the Pacific Division. Now, if you expect me to say the Avalanche are going to steamroll through the Central Division because they're #1 in goals scored, #1 in goals against, and have led the league in points basically the entire season, you'd be mistaken. You see, while the Avalanche have dominated all year long, there are 2 teams in the Central Division, whoever comes out on top in the first round, can easily give the Avs a run for their money. The Wild and Stars playing in the first round is criminal. But the rules are the rules, and this will probably be the most competitive series to start the playoffs. My bold prediction is Minnesota takes out Dallas in the first round. My main beef with the Stars right now is goaltending. While the Wild are riding a hot-filled Gustafsson, the Stars have had their franchise goalie Jake Ottinger get outplayed by their backup Casey DeSmith. And mix in the injury issues, Minnesota's ability to play at the line on both ends, and the Wild getting hot at the right time, and I think we get the Wild and Avs in round 2. And you know what? Give me Minnesota again. Their defensive mindset and goaltending, I think, will give them the chance to counteract Colorado's scoring depth and win the series. Additionally, I think playing the Stars in the first round compared to the Avs playing someone like the Predators, sorry Kendall, is going to prepare Minnesota more for a tough, high-speed series that this one will be. But the conference finals are where the Wild team, I think, runs out of gas. While Minnesota can slow teams down, I think the Stars and Avs series are going to start to take a toll on them injury and energy-wise. Meanwhile, Edmonton is just going to be way too quick with their first line of Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, who should be healthy by then, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Mix in that the Wild is a top 5 penalized team, and the Oilers' power play is ranked first in the NHL, and I'd say give me Edmonton at 6 to make it back to the Stanley Cup Finals for the 3rd year straight. Will this finally be the year Edmonton can get it done? They don't have the Panthers in their way. They might still be playing a Florida team, but this time, McDavid will not be the bridesmaid. He will finally be the bride and hold up Lord Stanley. Tampa wants structure, discipline, and tight games, while Edmonton wants speed, transition, and chaos. So which style wins out? I lean Edmonton because they simply have the best player in the world. He's going to finally break the stigma of always finishing second. At some point, McDavid needs to take over. This isn't about points or highlights. This is about legacy for McDavid. I expect multiple multi-point games and some clutch moments from him this series that help Canada get their first Stanley Cup since 1993. They did lose the gold medal game, so it'd probably be pretty good timing for the country up north to win something in the NHL for once in my lifetime. The best playoffs in the professional world starts on April 18th, and you aren't going to want to miss any second because anything can happen. Back to you guys in the studio.
Well, if you weren't planning on watching the Stanley Cup playoffs, I certainly hope you are now. Great work, TJ. When we return to College Press Box, we will take a look at this past week in Longhorn sports and see what's ahead. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to College Press Box. Let's take a look at this past week in Longhorn sports. Texas Beach Volleyball hosted Tulane. The Longhorns swept the Green Wave to finish out the Longhorn Showdown. They went 4-0 in the tournament, and this is the 11th time this season Texas has swept an opponent.
Texas women's basketball star Madison Booker was named the Cheryl Miller Small Forward of the Year for the 3rd consecutive season. Booker averaged just under 19 points and 7 rebounds per game this season and had already been named a first-team All-American. Booker becomes just the 2nd player to ever win the award 3 times and is expected to return to the team next season for her senior year.
Texas hosted the 98th Clyde Littlefield Texas Relays presented by Truist over the weekend, with the Longhorns securing multiple titles. Kendrick Smallwood won the men's 110-meter hurdles with a 13.16-second finish, defending his title. The women's 4x100-meter relay also secured the win with a combined time of 43.19. In the field, Kelsey Daniel claimed 2 titles, men's triple jump and the long jump, and Michael Pignons threw 19.64 meters in the men's shot put to ring in another title for Texas, among many more standout podium performances for the Longhorns.
Now let's take a look at this week in Longhorn sports. Tomorrow night, baseball will play Incarnate Word at 6:30 at home. That's streaming on SEC Network Plus. The weekend series for Texas baseball is away at College Station against A&M. Friday's game will be on SEC Network, Saturdays will be on ESPN2, and Sunday back on SEC Network Plus. Softball will face Oklahoma at home this weekend. You can catch Game 1 and Game 3 on ESPN, and Game 2 on ESPN2.
And that concludes this week's special edition of College Press Box. Please make sure to support Student Voices by donating at the QR link. Thank you for always, and thank you for tuning in. And as always, please make sure to tune into our other weekly sports shows, including College Crossfire, Wednesdays airing at 9 p.m., and the Want to Know sports shows on Friday at 11 a.m. Also, we invite you to follow our coverage on Instagram, X, TikTok, and YouTube at the handle TSTV Sports. Thank you to our executive producer, Kendall Unger, and all of our reporters in TSTV Sports. I'm Zoe Frigillana. He's Dylan Becker. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.